Starting five with the sleepers. College basketball is officially 7 days away, which means we would normally have a pretty action-packed episode anyway, just being excited for the season. But, Car, I feel like a lot happened this week. I'm excited to talk about it. We have real basketball. We're going to talk about Illinois' exhibition win. We're going to talk about some takeaways from a very high-profile scrimmage between Gonzaga and Tennessee. I guess that was an exhibition too, not a scrimmage. Cade Cunningham is playing awesome since we lit him on fire a couple weeks ago. We will address that. We're also going to bring on a guest for the fifth topic in this episode, which is Braden Turner from the Ain't No Seats pod, which is a Kansas podcast. And if you're out of the loop, Carter and I got absolutely torched by Kansas fans in the last week. Last week's episode, during our Illinois-Kansas secret scrimmage segment, I made some jokes at Kansas's expense. I believe Carter said Jalen Wilson stinks. And Braden, who has a pretty large Kansas following, found it, clipped it, put it out. So we're going to welcome Braden onto the show and just hash things out a little bit, maybe defend our side a little bit. And of course, Cart, the rivalry was this weekend, Michigan State and Michigan. So lots to get into. First of all, how are you? Again, you're world traveling. You're back from New York City. And
I am.
You look good. How was the trip?
It was good. I think New York or just city life is overrated for myself in general. Just it's always packed. There's always something going on. Dollar slices slap. So I'll give New York that. It was a good trip.
Dollar slices sound fantastic. I'm not gonna lie. Did you get like the real New York style too? Like,
yeah, like I came on like the paper plate, like grease all over. Kind of the place probably was a little unsanitary, but it tasted fire.
Did you get any Sbarro while you're there? The original New York slice?
Is it actually the original New York slice?
No, I just joke about it. It's my favorite pizza on earth. And there's a Sbarro in New York that Michael Scott refers to as his favorite pizza place on earth. Just saying.
Sorry, I misreferenced on that one. No, I was too busy in New York to really enjoy it because I was told I need to watch more basketball. So I was really just watching any hoop that I could this weekend, no matter what. I was watching some practices. I needed to watch more basketball.
Yeah, you took the constructive criticism from Kansas fans, I guess you could say. We had to decide whether or not to like really enter the gauntlet with those guys. And some people were like, just stop responding. But like that's not really us to not respond when attacked or provoked. So we had a little back and forth here and there. It culminated in Jalen Wilson himself calling us clowns and tweeting out the clip. So again,
and calling us not only calling us clowns, calling us UNC fans.
Right. Yeah. They appear to be pretty confused about who we are, which with me is very fair. I'd be confused about my fandoms too. But we UNC fans, Illinois fans, like, no, that's not the deal here. So we'll talk more about that. We'll save that for Kansas. But not exactly the most fair context when just clipping 20 seconds of our show to people who have never seen us before. We'll get into it. First, Cart, the rivalry, Michigan State, Michigan. Played itself out over the weekend. I got to pat myself on the back because I think I nailed the game flow of this when I did the best bets show. I think I said it on this show last week too. I said Michigan State would jump out to a lead and then never score again, and Michigan would run away with it. I didn't expect Michigan to only kick field goals, but that's essentially what happened. To my eye, I thought Michigan State played pretty inspired football, which I guess Mel Tucker and the players credit for early, but ultimately not enough. Not a good football team. Michigan, very good football team. And Harbaugh late obviously took the chance to try and run it up a little bit with some trick plays and some deep shots with his starters still in the game. So what do you take away from this? You're sad, but are you like disappointed? Are you surprised? What do you take away?
I'm a little, I think the way I would lean on it is disappointed because honestly, the way the game was playing out and unfolding, like I don't think Michigan played that well. I thought Michigan, honestly, if they played a lot better, that blowout, the way it went, if Michigan State was playing the same way, it could have got a lot worse. I feel like we had chances. I feel like we didn't. We caught Michigan on a day where they gave us chances that we could have won that football game. So that was disappointing to me. Some of the decisions and play calling were disappointing. And at the end of the day, like we we got smacked by a rival, and that hurts.
Not totally unexpected though, right? Like I think we both could see
Yeah,
this
yeah,
up.
not totally. I mean, yeah, not totally unexpected. I mean, they were 23.5 point favorites for a reason. They're a top 10 team for a reason. But obviously in a rivalry game, some of that stuff kind of goes away. And I expected a closer game. But also at the same time, not unexpected that they ended up winning by the margin that they won by. But at the end of the day, like losing to your rival absolutely sucks. And culminating that with a tunnel situation just made it even worse. Like
We'll get to the tunnel. We'll get to the tunnel. I want to full pivot to that in a moment and give us both a chance to do an official statement on that. But no, I think your point about like you want a closer game or you expect a closer game against your rival is a fair one, because I think watching the game play out, there were opportunities for that to 100% be the case. And we didn't necessarily know that. Like you could have told me going into the game, Michigan would just come out, play great, and stomp Michigan State. I would have been like, yeah, that's a very distinct possibility here. But through a quarter and a half, the door was wide open for this to be an absolute dogfight. And I think that's sort of the thing where with Michigan State fans and even the players, like that's sort of been the ethos of the program when the rivalry comes into play of like, no matter what, Michigan State's going to show up for this and they're going to play above their level, and Michigan might not take it seriously. And I think like that was sort of there through a quarter. And then the big swing was not kicking the field goal to tie it at 10. They go for it on 4th and 1.5 and run a delay off of a timeout, which seemed like an insane play call. And, Michigan stuffs them, marches down, I believe kicks the field goal before half. So it was still a 1-score game. But like that to me seemed like the big swing there. And then Michigan scores out of halftime, and all of a sudden it's a 2-possession game and the wheels are falling off.
Yeah, there was just some weird things in there. There was a lot of situations I feel like during the game where also on third down, we were like rushing to get up to the line and run plays to like catch Michigan off guard, but it never worked. And when it didn't work the first 3 times, we continued to do it. And I didn't think that we did a good job of going at the places where we had advantages. Like we had luck throwing it to Keon downfield. We had luck throwing it to Jaden Reed downfield. And in the second half, I feel like we got away from that. And it just fell apart from that point. Blake Corum eventually, I mean, he just started doing his thing and running back. The defense gave us a chance. I mean, we gave up a lot of yardage and things like that, but we kind of had a bend don't break thing holding in the field goals, which was surprising that Michigan wasn't able to capitalize. That was kind of the door opening that I saw. But yeah, like you said, really couldn't take advantage of it. So it stinks.
Yeah, I thought the defense played well. Corum's just good. It is what it is. Michigan's red zone stuff is going to bite them. It sort of bit them in the Penn State game, keeping that close early as well. And
Michigan fans are still so annoying. I'm sorry.
We're gonna
They
get
really
to that
are.
too. We're gonna get to that too. Both sides are annoying. Like as someone who is
they are. Both sides are
unequivocally in the
annoying.
middle, like both sides are just like tired at this point, being like that side's so annoying. Like everybody's fucking annoying. It's a horrible week, let alone when there's an extra week of build up to it. But I guess my last thing would just be, I feel like this was the first time I've watched a Michigan State Michigan game in over a decade where I felt that coaching made a big difference negatively to Michigan State. And I don't know, I've been very critical of Mel. Obviously, that, but like players are starting to kind of say this. Like Chris Fry on Twitter was jumping into the fray a little bit, and he's a more vocal former player, and like
Yeah, when I don't know if we can talk about any Chris Fry comments on here.
okay, I mean, I don't know the backstory.
We know why Chris Fry
Okay, got it.
is
Wasn't
yeah,
aware of that.
we know why he is not happy with the leadership of the program.
What wasn't aware of that. I don't know. I just feel like even in the losses under Mark D'Antonio, they more often than not felt to me like, Michigan's just so much better than us this year, and there was nothing we could do. This year felt like, yeah, that's true. Michigan's a lot better, but also there were opportunities here that Michigan State didn't take because of self-enforced issues. And that's hard for me to square because that wasn't the case last year. Michigan State was obviously better, but like I thought Mel definitely did a great job coaching, and Harbaugh has shit himself as a coach in this rivalry a bunch of times. This year, that changed. Harbaugh did a great job. I don't really think Michigan made any major mistakes from a strategy perspective. Mel Tucker came out at halftime and said they can't stop Keon Coleman, and then I think they targeted him twice in the second half. So like I'm at a loss at this point on what Mel's doing with this team, and I think it's a disaster right now.
Yeah, there's some Dan Campbell-esque moves and play calling going on in that second half,
which is the biggest indictment you can say of a football coach. $95 million, Cart. Just want to be very clear about that.
Still worth every penny.
That's just pure homerism at this point to say that. All right, let's move to the tunnel. Yay. So fun to talk about this, what everyone wants to be talking about. I'm going to give the ball to you first here. I feel like when the Juwan Howard thing happened, like I kind of had to just come out and talk, and I'd sort of like to put you on the spot. Where are you with everything that happened?
It's unacceptable. Like you can't do it. You can't do it after a win. You can't do it after a loss. Just like, first of all, optics wise, after a loss, you can't be the team that fights in the tunnel after a loss. Like that's just something you don't do. You take the L the way it is. I know it's a rivalry game. I know stuff's going on. Obviously they show the clip. You don't know the full story. It doesn't really matter, honestly. Seeing the full clip obviously will give you a better idea of how the situation came about. But the situation by itself is unacceptable. Oh shit, sorry. Situation by itself is just unacceptable. It's embarrassing. Some of the feedback though, or some of the comments from Michigan fans rub me the wrong way with the word choice usage and things like that. But just speaking to the situation in general, it's unacceptable, and you can't do it.
Yeah.
I think I will do this. I will, and you could say it's bad, but I will commend them for actually coming out and suspending the players that were involved in it. I think that was a good move, and a move that had to be done. So I do commend them for actually taking action with the situation. It's an unfortunate situation that happened, and it shouldn't have happened.
Yeah, I mean, if they didn't, that would be pretty insane.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I guess I don't know. Like, I have seen a lot of
like, but I feel
this
like
is great.
But they did the suspensions themselves. I don't want to do this apples to apples with the Juwan situation, but didn't the Big Ten kind of handle the repercussions of that?
I honestly don't remember. I think so. Michigan definitely stood behind Juwan more than Michigan State is standing behind what happened here. And I also think that's
also two different situations. So
I also think that's a fair interpretation because Juwan's entire thing was I was defending my players. And also like the action of what Juwan did was 100 times less dangerous than swinging a football helmet at a guy's head. So like they're a little bit of a difference.
Yeah,
there.
But also players fighting.
Yes, I understand.
Fighting.
I understand that. Okay. But again, it wasn't Juwan Howard hitting a player. It was whatever. I'm not here to compare the two. I came out and said it was fucking stupid and Juwan shouldn't be Michigan's coach when it happened. So go back and listen to that if you want. The whole thing's embarrassing. I think you summarized most of it appropriately. That's fine. Michigan State had to suspend them. I don't really I'm not in like great way Michigan State handled that. Like, of course they had to suspend them. Like if my son, a future son, like drives a car and kills somebody, like I have to punish him. Like, of course you have to punish those guys immediately. That was ridiculous. I think that Jim Harbaugh, not like placing blame, because I see a lot of Michigan fans being like, oh, you're moving the goalposts, like, oh, you're blaming someone, whatever. Like, but I thought the way Harbaugh's last drive in that game totally set the tone for something like this to happen. And I said that in the moment, like when you're up 3.5 scores, keeping the starters in and throwing a wide receiver reverse pass downfield in this game, like things are going to get chippy. And if you want to run it up, fine, run it up, but just hand the ball to your damn running back and let him run for 30 yards. Like, it's not like Blake Corum wouldn't march down the field if he was doing that anyway. So, and they had the reverse pass, and then they had the deep shot with JJ, and Michigan State got a personal foul, like trying to essentially knock out the receiver in that spot. And like, I sent a couple texts to my parents who are Michigan fans, just like, this is absolutely insane. And the announcers of the game called it on the spot too. If you were listening to them, like, they're like, this is dangerous. This is crazy. And you can't just pin it all on Harbaugh for this, but I 100% think that affected emotions after the game. And now it leads to a spot where, Michigan State's 100% in the wrong. Michigan State's admitting they're in the wrong, but like, oddly, it feels like Michigan is like almost happy with this result. Like, I'm sure they're not happy the players are hurt, but like, I don't know. Michigan just gets away with all of this and gets to be the victim in a game where they won by 30. And it rubs me the wrong way a little bit. And then you got the fan like reaching out and putting his hands on Mel. And then Michigan fans are tweeting that, oh, Mel tried to assault a fan. Like, it's just always shifting the responsibility, and it's always pointing the finger, and Michigan keeps getting away with it. And I don't know what to make of that, but it, all in all, totally wrong. Mel should be embarrassed. The players should be off the team. It's a horrible, horrible, horrible look for Michigan State, but I do think there's responsibility on both sides. That's pretty frustrating as a fan.
Yeah, we always state that you, as a coach, you think you want to put your players in the best position to win. It's also, put them in the best position to, be safe and situations like that. And I think you kind of made a good point that's getting overlooked a little bit. I'm not mad at running. I'm not mad at Harbaugh for running up the score. I'm a dickhead myself. I'm a run up the score kind of guy. So I'm not mad at that. But there's repercussions for doing that. Not saying that what we did was right, but like, you're poking the bear. You're adding fuel to the, you're stoking the fire basically. So it's what it is. At the end of the day, Michigan won by 30. It sucks because now the tunnel situation is the talk.
And for the record, none of this has anything to do with Michigan's tunnel logistics. Like, that's bugging the shit out of me that people are just like, it's the tunnel that's the problem. No, it's not. It's the behavior of the people that's the problem. So this has been a tunnel for 100 years, and there haven't been issues until the last 2 weeks. James Franklin, big winner for calling this before it happened, by the way. Did you see that?
James Franklin.
I mean, he's the winner. He came out in the press conference and said the tunnel's the problem, and then there you go.
I just don't know if I want to give credit to James Franklin on this podcast.
Final thing here. Keep chopping. We good with that?
Yeah, sure. I hate that shit so much.
Is that the official stance from Carter Elliott on keep chopping? You hate that shit?
It's just annoying. Like, we're getting ran off the field, and there's just like some random staff member in the back. Just like, no, we're down 40.
Yeah, it's one of the worst gimmicks I've ever seen.
Stop chopping.
I mean, just the chop after back-to-back drive self-induced penalties on the first drive of the game were what killed me. I think everything about Mel's a joke at this point. He's Instagram Brady Hoke. It is what it is.
Oh wow.
Let's move on. Let's go to basketball. Illinois had their exhibition against Quincy, Carter. They won by 35 points, 87-52 was the final score. There were a lot of interesting outputs, I would say, from the box score of this game. And also, since the last episode that we put out, to be very clear, Luke Goody is injured. We did not know that at the time of recording last week. It came out before we released the episode. So some of what we said did not look great last week as far as jokes to Luke Goody. We hope your recovery goes very well, Luke. Illinois is so deep that sadly, I don't think he's going to be missed that much, even though he may have potentially started.
He might be shooting wise.
You want to talk about that?
Well, one of the things that stood out to me, and just for reference, I watched like the condensed. Shout out to Matthew who loves b-ball on YouTube, one of my favorite channels. Kind of gives like condensed full highlights just because I wasn't able to watch the full game, and then also watching the box score or analyzing the box score, it seemed that Illinois struggled from 3-point range, 6 for 34, and I mean a lot of guys we're going 1 for 4, 1 for 6, 0 for 4, 1 for 6. So it seemed like shooting was a struggle in this game. Now, this might not be a factor. It's the first exhibition game, first real game against another team, kind of. So maybe the shooting can waver a little bit. It was at home, too. So who knows if there was some nerves involved or something like that. But it's something to point at Luke Goody for the shortcomings that I believe that he might have in other areas of his game. There is one area that he excels in, and that's shooting the basketball. So that might be one of the kind of after effects that they feel about this. But looking at some other things, Ty Rodgers was able to be productive in the time that he had, almost with a double-double. Coleman Hawkins had a double-double himself. RJ Melendez struggled from 3-point range, but was good from the field. 15 points. So I don't know. It looked like a pretty balanced game to me. Terrence Shannon looked like he was doing his thing on the defensive end, getting out in transition, using his athleticism. So I think you saw some things from Illinois in a game against the Quincy, whatever they are.
I feel like they're the Wildcats without Googling it. I feel like it's
they might be.
Yeah. I watched a good amount of this game. I didn't watch all of it, but I watched I rewatched most of the first half, a little bit of the second half, and it definitely feels like a different Illinois team. That's the first thing, like not good or bad, but to all the talk about Kofi's gone and we're going to play a different brand of basketball and positionless, etc. You saw that. I think it's real. I think it's out of necessity. I don't know that it's necessarily like intentional. It's just like Kofi's gone. We don't have a behemoth in the post anymore. Like we have to play this way. And I think it works. I think it's going to be very fun. They're going to be one of the more up and down teams, like free flowing teams in the country, let alone the Big Ten. So I'm excited to watch them. Like I think if there's just a team in the Big Ten that I'm looking forward to watching the most right now, it's Illinois. Positives for me, the number one positive is this team is so damn deep, which is why I made the Goodies not going to affect them much comment. Your point about shooting is real, but I think this team has like 12 dudes who would play in any rotation pretty much anywhere right now, including the freshmen on the bench. Like Ty Rodgers had a lot of fouls in this game, but he looks the part of like a top 6, 7 guy on this team. And on most teams, I think he'd be like a top 4, top 5 guy right away. Dane Danger didn't play a ton, but he passed the eye test to me. Like I think he's a really solid post threat right now. Sky Clark he looked the part to me. He looked for real. Like for us to come on last week and be like, hey, if he's not starting, maybe that means something. I don't know where I stand on that now, looking back on it. I still think it did mean something. Like, I don't think it was just he's making him earn it thing. But he looks really good now. So I don't know if that would have been a thing where he overtook Luke Goody anyway by the time the first real game came around or not. Either way, he's in the starting lineup now. And he looks aggressive. Like he looks like he can get to his spots. He's definitely the best facilitator on this team right now to me, even though Brad himself has sort of said other guys are maybe the best point guard on this team. Sky Clark's the guy, and he looks really good. Coleman definitely in a bigger role and like seems to kind of be comfortable stepping into that alpha role, which is important because I think with Terrence Shannon and Matthew Meyer, the biggest question with both of them forever has been, can they be the number one option? Maybe they don't need to be the number one option. Maybe they can just keep being really good number 2 and number 3 options on this team, and Coleman can be number 1. So I'm in on Illinois. Like I think from all the questions of like, can they do what they want to do? The answer seems yes through this exhibition. Now I have a lot of negatives. Can I jump some negatives at you?
So come on, swing it.
So here's where I'm skeptical, and you touched on it already. 6 for 34 from 3. 6 for 34 from 3 in this game. And it's not just like Luke Goody's gone now, so this is a problem, but like going up and down the roster right now, I don't know that you'd say any of these guys are going to be 40% shooters at all, or even close.
There's no, I'm gonna let you cook. There's no Alfonso Plummer. There's
No,
no Trent Frazier on this basketball team.
no. And that's a
Yeah.
big problem. And I think they need Matthew Meyer to be that guy. Otherwise, like if he can just get into a role where he's just sniping for them and shooting like 7, 8 threes a game and making 40%, it helps them immensely. Uh, the problem is Matthew Meyer is not doing that right now. Matthew Meyer, to me, was the least impressive guy of the group in this game. He only had 6 points on 2 for 7 from the field. He only played 16 minutes in this game, Cart. And like, yeah, I don't know. Meyer really was not what people expected at Baylor last year. And a lot of people were just like, oh, Baylor's guards were so good. It took away his opportunity. Like maybe Matthew Meyer is not ever going to be a top 3 option on a team. Maybe he ends up being like a 4th, 5th, 6th guy on this Illinois team. But I think Illinois needs more out of him to reach the level they want to reach to. And then the last thing I would just say is Coleman, who, again, we love Coleman, fans of him here. He's come on the show. He's the most entertaining interview we've ever done. For all the good, like I think he can be the alpha on this team. He had 4 turnovers in 23 minutes in this game. And I think the biggest negative question with Coleman Hawkins, looking at his career statistically, has been he turns the ball over all the time, like all the time. So if in real games he's going to play 30, 35 minutes, I mean, historically, we'd be expecting him to turn it over 6, 7, 8 times a game. And through an exhibition against Quincy, that carried itself as true. So I'm a little, I guess, just nervous. Like, I think Illinois is going to be fun. They're going to be very good. But I think there's still a lot of question marks that would prevent me from saying they're the favorite in the Big Ten compared to Indiana right now.
Yeah, I think it's a situation with Coleman too. Is I think he tries to make the hard, like kind of. I think he tries to make the hard pass way too much. He tries to make the one that looks a little better instead of instead of singles and doubles, tries to do triples and home runs. Hate that I use that phrase, by the way. Coach May put that phrase in me. Shout out Albany in college, but I absolutely hate it.
Well, I like it. I mean, that was a very podcastery phrase. I respect it. Yeah, I don't know. I've got my eye on Illinois. I want to keep watching them. I think they're going to be really good. I think they're a contender. I don't think they're the favorite right now. That's where I stand. Also, RJ Melendez looked really good. We didn't mention him, but I am still like, I'm buying him big time. I think he could be all Big Ten this year.
Is there any chance that Melendez makes a bigger jump than Chris Murray this year?
Yeah, definitely. Not as like better player, but bigger jump. Yeah, because Chris Murray's way ahead of RJ from where they left last year. But I still think like Melendez could make a similar-ish jump to what Keegan and Johnny did last year. I really think that.
Wow. It's a pretty big jump. It's
a big
National
jump.
Player of the Year type jump.
Yeah, he's not going to be that, but he could be like
Okay.
in the talk of first team All Big Ten. All right, let's move. Gonzaga and Tennessee played a high profile, high stakes exhibition. I think it was an exhibition, like a charity match or something.
Yeah.
Tennessee won. Tennessee won by 20, 99-80 to be exact. You, I believe, watched much of this game. I only saw highlights. I didn't watch it live. So let's throw to you. What did you see from Gonzaga, Tennessee?
I saw 2 teams that I think are in different places right now. As far as panicking, if I'm a Gonzaga fan, I'm not doing that. This looked like a team with new pieces to me, and it looked more so like a team in Tennessee that has played a lot more games together. But Tennessee's no joke this year, and like I think people don't want to take the step with Zakai Ziegler as far as him being like considered one of the best point guards in the country. Like I feel like they mention him maybe like in that top 20 type point guard or top 30 type overall point guard in the country. But he really is like the real deal at the point guard spot. And Vescovi has been there for so many years. And despite what I might think about him or others might think about him, he was first team All SEC last year, I believe, in an SEC that had some really good guards in it. So this Tennessee team is good. Gonzaga is going to be fine. I still think that Gonzaga is going to be fine moving forward. I think Hickman's going to eventually take control of this team. I think Salas will give them things. And at the end of the day, they have Drew Timme. So I'm not as concerned as I feel like others might be.
Yeah, I think Tennessee's good from what I saw for sure, which should make Michigan State feel better about the way their scrimmage went. And we should pivot to that and talk specific. How does this affect Michigan State? Because they're about to play Gonzaga
Oh no!
in weeks
This
two.
kills Michigan State. This
Well,
kills them.
save that. We'll get to that. So I think this game actually means more for Gonzaga than it does for Tennessee. Is my takeaway. I think Tennessee is going to be good. I don't think they're going to be great. Uh, and like I'm not necessarily buying like, oh, this is some revelation and Tennessee's a national title contender now that we didn't see coming. I
Oh,
think
I'm not saying
Zakai
that either. I just want to make that known.
Yeah, I think Zakai Ziegler's really good, but I think like all in all, this is like still a top 15 to 20 team in the country. And if Gonzaga's getting smoked by a top 15, 20 team, we got some eyebrows to raise here. Let me say can I say some things about Gonzaga?
Yeah, please do.
I'm sick of Gonzaga. And if this is now some Braden from Gonzaga is going to clip this. And
As a Zags jersey is hanging behind him.
yeah, look, I love Jalen Suggs. Like I've loved Gonzaga's teams the last few years. Any college basketball fan should absolutely love them. What I'm sick of is like every year, even going back before the last 2 years, for the last five, like Gonzaga ends up in the top three in the country, and look, I just don't think they are typically actually deserving of that. Like this team is gonna lose 4 games on the season, 2 of them in the non-conference, one in the NCAA tournament, and one hiccup along the way to St. Mary's. And they're going to get a 1 seed in the NCAA tournament. And it is what it is. Like, I respect the program. I respect Mark Few immensely when he's not drinking and driving. And I respect Drew Timme. He's really good. But like, I'm bugged by us acting like this is a consensus top 3 roster now, because there are holes here from what made Gonzaga special the last 2 seasons. Jalen Suggs is gone. Andrew Nemhard is gone. And Chet Holmgren is gone. And Drew Timme's great. He is good enough to be the National Player of the Year if he plays well this year. But like, you don't just replace Andrew Nemhard in the backcourt and fire on all cylinders. And we like Nolan Hickman. He's solid. Rasir Bolton, we made jokes about all last year. He's Rasir Bolton. Like,
I mean, Rasir Bolton. As for as many jokes as we said about Rasir Bolton, he was a guy who was shooting 40% from three.
Yeah, he's a very useful winning basketball player. He's Rasir Bolton, though. And Hunter Salas is not the guy I think a lot of people wanted Hunter Salas to be. He only played 13 minutes this game, 4 points, 1 assist. I like Nolan Hickman. Nolan Hickman is not Andrew Nemhard, though. He's not like a win now, ready to just run the show point guard the way that Andrew Nemhard was. And Chet erased everything. Every hole this Gonzaga team had, Chet covered up. So now that's gone. Like, Drew Timme's defensive inability is exposed again, the way that it wasn't all last year. And it eats them up in March. We know that when you put Drew Timme in ball screen coverage situations, he's toast. And I don't know if that's what Tennessee did in this game, because like I said, I only watched highlights, but I'm not going to sit here and watch Gonzaga lose by 20 to a team that we think is going to finish third in the SEC, and we're going to rank them in the top 3 all year again. I'm not doing that. I'm not playing that game this year.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think one of the biggest things you said is defensively, they're gonna struggle. It looks like so they're gonna have to find their way around that. But at the same time, like, this is, I don't know. Like, for all the things you say about Gonzaga doing the same thing every single year, literally 2 years ago, they made it to the title game.
You know why?
I do know why.
Jalen Suggs.
I ate pancakes.
Look, that team was great. And they had way more ready NBA guys than this year's team does. Like, Kispert was awesome that year. Iu was really good. Andrew Nemhard is playing for the Pacers right now. Like, that was one of the best college teams of all time, no question. But I don't want to do the thing where Gonzaga is just a top 3 team all season, and they're out here getting, like, they got ran by Tennessee. Did they not? They got ran off the court in the second half of this game. Tennessee's not that good this year. They're just not. So
I mean,
I don't
but
know.
also how much you put in exhibitions. I mean, I think yesterday Arkansas got ran off the floor by Texas by like 30.
And I think that would say something about Arkansas. But I'm also, look, I overreact. I know that. But we can only evaluate based on the basketball that we've seen thus far. And the point is, we're going to see Gonzaga win 19 of 20 conference games, and we're going to give them a 1 seed. We do it every year. I'm not doing it this year. Like, I'm not pretending this Gonzaga team is the best team in the country anymore.
You think Gonzaga's a top five? You think Gonzaga's a top five team though?
I think they're closer to 10 right now.
Okay.
Where do you have them?
I had them. I think closer to 10 is a little stretch, but I think I have them like 5, 6.
I like that. I respect that. If we can just be honest about that, I'm fine. Like, if this game mattered, if this was a real results game, don't they immediately fall to like 5 or 6?
Yeah.
So there we go. Let's just act like if we just do that instead of pretending Gonzaga is a top 3 team in the country all season long, I'm perfect with it. Yay. Great result. Okay. How does this impact Michigan State now? Because MSU is going to play Gonzaga in a couple weeks. They had the secret scrimmage against Tennessee. By all accounts, Michigan State held their own in that game, had a lead on Tennessee early in the second half, hanged the banner before ultimately losing the game. And now we think Tennessee looks really good, and we think Gonzaga is more vulnerable than we did a week ago. So how are you feeling as a Michigan State fan?
The immediate thought that came to my mind is that this is a wake-up call to Gonzaga. I'm trying to catch them on that game where they're lacking a little bit. I think Tennessee got to catch them lacking. So my thoughts don't change on this game at all. I still think they have a large advantage down low in the front court with Drew Timme. And I don't think that Michigan State, at least to my knowledge, is going to have enough offensive firepower to expose Gonzaga's defensive deficiencies. So, it doesn't really. I don't think it really does anything for us that, or I see something different right now than I saw before.
Okay. Yeah, I like your point about you want to be the team that catches them by surprise, and now Michigan State's not going to get the opportunity to do that. I don't know. I think there's more life here than I would have given them a week ago for sure. And the same thing's happening with Kentucky. Severe Wheeler got hurt overnight, and we don't know what his availability is going to be for that game. So that matters. Like the schedule gauntlet that is Michigan State's schedule, hardest schedule of all time. Suddenly you can squint and see some upsets.
So you're saying State money lines a go?
It might be. It might be. Look, I think.
Or are you saying now we're going to get better value for the other teams?
No, I don't. I still wouldn't like. I'm not going to put my name behind Michigan State's going to win either of these games against Gonzaga or Kentucky. But if AJ Hoggard can be the best guard in that game, which is possible, definitely. Why not? Like, if AJ Hoggard can keep just putting Drew Timme in vulnerable situations downhill, why not? Like, that's a matchup Michigan State can 100% exploit. If Michigan State runs all the shooters out there.
But at the same time, I'm sorry, I feel like I've been cutting you off a lot this episode, so don't forgive me for that. At the same time, I don't think AJ Hoggard. I think that Drew Timme struggles to guard in the pick and roll, but is he really going to struggle to guard in the pick and roll if he doesn't have to come out and show or hedge or even press up? He can play drop coverage.
Yeah, theoretically he can. I don't know if AJ will make him pay or not. We'll see.
Yeah, I guess we'll see. The real season starts in 7 days.
But the thing with Timme, though, is like he's not a rim protector. Even if he plays drop coverage, like you're letting AJ Hoggard go downhill into your body. Pause. But like that's still that's a win for Michigan State, right?
Yeah, true. But also at the same time, he keeps his hands straight up. Maybe he fouls them, and then you send a 65% free throw shooter to the line.
I think Michigan State will take Drew Timme fouls in that game.
Yeah, true.
Listen, Velocichet ain't coming out of nowhere no more. So
Velocichet. Wow.
I'm just saying, I see opportunity here for Michigan State in a way that I didn't a week ago. So more to come. I'm sure we'll talk more about Gonzaga all season long. And hi, Gonzaga fans, when somebody clips this and only shows the part where I say I'm sick of Gonzaga. Hello. Very good team, just not preseason favorite in my mind.
Good team. Call an Uber.
Cade Cunningham is a killer. And we were on here 2 weeks ago now, I think 2 or 3 weeks ago, questioning Cade's abilities as our franchise player for the Detroit Pistons.
Rightfully so.
Rightfully so, yeah. Look, in the preseason, Cade looked a step slow, maybe 2.5 steps slow, and just not very aggressive. They lost every game in the preseason, for the record. Regular season starts for the first week. That continued. Like, these concerns expanded beyond just us. Pistons fans were kind of moaning about it and there was a lot of eye rolls of like, are we really going to do this with Cade? But I think on the way he played through a week of the regular season, through all the preseason, like, it didn't look like the second year guy you'd expect after the way he ended last season. Now something changed, and I don't know what changed. Maybe he was always just this dude and just played bad for 3 weeks in a row leading into it. But since we questioned him, 26, 6 and 8, 35, 8 and 9, 23, 9 and 10 in back-to-back games in the association. Carter, we have a franchise superstar, and it's time for us to admit we were wrong.
And we will do that. We were wrong. But were we really wrong?
Yes.
A guy was playing bad, and we said he was playing bad while everyone else was like, relax. It's Cade. He'll be okay. So, yeah, maybe you guys are right, but also we were analyzing what the hell we saw in the preseason and the first week of the season, and that was a player that scared me. I'm sorry for being scared, okay? I have a lot of trauma in my life with sports, being a Detroit sports fan. So, yes, I was afraid. I am no longer afraid, and I am sorry. Cade is Timothy.
Yeah.
He has that dog in him.
I feel like he's found his spots in a way that he wasn't when we were criticizing him a little bit. Like, that mid-range pull-up is not something we were seeing frequently at all, even much of last season. I don't feel like I feel like that's a new thing. And now he's getting to that shot 7-8 times a game, which we need. Like, my thing with him always has been like, okay, can he be what Luka is to the Mavs? And it's not like a comparison between skill sets or players. It's just like the Pistons need someone to be the guy who drives the offense every time he's on the court. And look, maybe long-term that he doesn't need to have that responsibility. Maybe Jaden Ivey gets so good to the point they share that. But like, if this team's going to go anywhere, and even if they, a year from now, when they want to win playoff series, like, he's got to be 75% of the time the guy creating the play. And he wasn't doing that. That's my thing. It wasn't like the numbers. It wasn't the poor shooting. It was like he was very disengaged from driving the offense. He was deferring to Killian Hayes when they were on the court together. Like, he was deferring to Sadiq Bey like all the time. And Sadiq Bey is never going to defer to anyone when he gets the ball. So like, I was just looking for that. Clearly he's doing that. And in that, he found the mid-range shit, which looks unstoppable right now. And is massive to me, because I was kind of curious what his key move would be. You know, I've criticized, like, I don't really think he can create much space. He's found space in the mid-range game. I'm very happy to say that.
I love it. He must have did some great work with his trainer over the summer.
Best trainer there is in the game, right?
Oh, yeah. Shout out Ashton, the trainer, if you watch this.
How's your overall temperature with the Pistons right now? Are you very happy? I mean, we're fun to watch. We're fun to watch, and we're losing games. That's a great combo right now.
That's exactly what I was going to say. That's all I want.
So we want one more year of losses.
Now bring me Wemby.
Or the Thompsons.
Yes, bring me them.
My problem is, if we're going to get one of the Thompsons, we have to get both. I don't only want one of the Thompsons. That defeats the purpose. Totally.
I don't know if that'd be. I don't know if that'd be possible. We can find a way.
We can find a way. That's the thing. We re-signed Bogey. You want to talk about Bogey? We've never really mentioned Bojan Bogdanovic.
I feel like he adds to the funness of the Pistons.
He's really good. He's really good.
He's got a ratchet.
Do you like the re-signing, though? Like, we essentially are treating him like he's a free agent signing for next year now, because his contract was set to expire.
I'm not really mad at it, because I think cap is a myth. Money's it's a myth.
I think if Bojan had never left Utah and just played out his final year of his contract, we would be begging for the Pistons to sign someone like him. So the fact that we acquired him and signed him is a win-win. Like it
Yeah,
basically
it
is a free
is.
agent signing, and it's a good one.
I will say I was a little surprised though, because I was looking at it as like, oh, some contender is gonna like throw us way more than Bogey's worth, like in a trade. But I mean, I'm fine with the signing.
Yeah, and I think that still could happen around the deadline, I think. But I'm hoping that doesn't happen. I think Bojan is a very good player who is underestimated for a lot of reasons, but he's the type of guy this Pistons team needs. Like they need a floor spacer who he's more than a floor
Right.
spacer. Like he's a secondary scorer. Like you can get that man the rock and he will find ways to score. And he's a vet. He's a winner. He's been on winning teams his entire career. I think he's going to have a big impact for this team as they actually make the jump from, hey, we're trying to lose games to, okay, now let's go in a playoff series.
Do we make the play in this year?
No.
No chance.
I
We're out
mean,
here beating the Warriors.
we're out here losing games that Cade's putting up 35, 8, and 9 in. Like,
Yeah, true.
Cade needs to be that good, and we're still losing games. Yeah, we need more parts. We still need more parts. Jalen Duren might be out for a little bit after tweaking his ankle, it looked like last night. So there's still a lot of holes.
I
in the
love
roster.
Jalen Duren though.
He's great.
He's a beast.
We got a fun team. Like the first time we have a team.
We have that picture you sent me last night of Cade and Jaden in the teal jerseys, and like this is a real picture. It was a real picture. That's our backcourt.
Yeah, I'm still waiting on the Photoshop of you and I on that, but
yeah, I can't believe Photobomb, man, really just left me.
Turnaround times have really gotten tough. Carter Elliott Enterprises here. All right, anything left you'd like to say before we move on to our Kansas conversation with Braden?
Just quickly want to mention Indiana hoops really quick. Jalen Hood-Schifino is a guy. That's all I want to say.
And he's why I have them as the clear number one in the conference right now. They're good.
But I'd also like to take a small victory lap on my Malik Renault takes as well. That's a pro.
He looks good. He looks really good. Yeah. Both the freshmen, what do you know? 5-star guys look like 5-star guys for Indiana. That's a problem. Race Thompson's out here hitting threes, by the way. He had 3 threes in their game. So I don't know. Indiana to me looks like clearly the number one team in the conference right now.
I'm still around with Illinois, but just want to say that quick shot to Indiana hoops.
Yeah, that pocket pass from Hood-Schifino is like,
Yeah. Like they're not just guys, like those are pros.
He had that, and then he had like a jump stop at the free throw line, spin around fade. And I'm like, yeah, this guy's a guy. That's problematic.
And his name is Jalen Hood-Schifino.
Very important point as well. All right, let's talk
or
about
is it Schifino Hood?
It's Hood-Schifino.
Okay, I mess up shit like that all the time. I just want to make sure.
I mean, that's just a air ball by you, right? As we're about to get roasted more. So bad tone. Let's welcome on Braden and talk some Kansas.